It's bigger than biotech.
I really wanted to get into your framework, actually, the René's career framework. So
Yeah.
yeah, like I'd love you to love for you to describe the framework, what it is, and like what are the key points that you've learned over your career that you've boiled it down to.
Thanks, René. Yeah. So I've advised many students, and one of the things I pull out of my back pocket is this René's 5-point plan for success in biotech. Okay. Now, this is and hopefully you stuck around for the whole podcast here to hear it, because that's really the important stuff. And if you scrub the head, that's fine, but make sure you listen to these 5-point plans. And I touch on some of these throughout the podcast and how I came about with this 5-point plan. But this is a very personal, introspective, egocentric view of what it takes to be good in biotech and to be successful. This is my personal 5 points. And if you ask anybody in the industry, they may have their own different 5 points. So make sure you ask, during your career chats, like, what are the 5 important things that you learn to get where you are? I took a lot of time thinking about these 5 points, and I thought them in a way that they're also practical. So there's things you can actually do today, and hopefully learn from my experience. Okay. So I'll go through them first and then I'll go into a little more detail. First, internships. Second, ABC, always be challenging yourself. ABN is third, always be networking. Fourth is find your superpowers. And 5 is define your personal mantra. Okay. So the first and probably one of the most important ones is internships. Okay, I mentioned that I was in a cooperative education system in Canada and I had 6 amazing internships. They changed my life. They helped direct me into the direction I wanted to go, what I didn't want to go. They gave me 2 years of work experience by the time I graduated. It made my resume stand out when I was applying to grad school. Hey, this kid's got 2 years of work experience. He has all these techniques under his belt. He understands science. So you stand out. You want to look at your resume or have imagine your resume a few years from now, if you're still in your undergrad. You want to make sure you've got internships on your resume. If you don't, you're going to have a hard time. If you got Carl's Jr. or you've got Genentech, who's going to hire the college junior person, right? So you got to really put in the energy to get those internships. So internships are so important for the experience, again, for setting your career path. It's during my internships that I fell in love with DNA and wanted to do a PhD in molecular biology. Okay, I didn't get that through my classroom stuff. So internship really important. Always be challenged, right? So part of the early parts for me of being challenged was getting a PhD, right? I left a country to go do a PhD. A PhD is hard enough as it is. I went from Canada to the US to do my PhD. I really, really challenged myself there. It was out of the box. It was uncomfortable, but I'm so glad I challenged myself. But throughout my career, I'm the one who volunteers for the tough assignments. You got to do the challenging things. And if you're not challenged in your job, you're not going to be learning very much. So keep that challenge going. ABN, always be networking. So important, as we talked about, right? To get those jobs, to get things done in your work life, and in your job, people that stand out are the good networkers, the network within the organization. So I'm not the smartest guy in the room, right? I have average intelligence, but I excelled because I'm a good networker, and that's probably why I have this job here. But that helped me uh, do well. If you're really, really, really smart and a poor networker, you're not going to get very far, right? So the networking skills, you got to develop those. It's a muscle. You got to work it every single day. You got to be networking. Um, the fourth is finding your superpowers. I touch on that a little bit, right? Go in deep, get some advice from your colleagues, figure out what you're really, 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 really good at. Okay, not what you're just good at, what you're fantastic at, and what your natural talents are. Sometimes it's hard to identify that. And now, because if it's easy for you, you think it's easy for everybody else. And you need somebody
Right.
else to come in and say, maybe your boss says, hey, Jack, you're really good at this analytics that you're doing here. Wow, this is really cool. And you're like, really? It's really easy for me. Well, find a job where you can use your superpowers all the time, right? So identifying what you're really good at is great. You can brag about it during interviews. You can give examples about it. People
Right.
want to know what you're passionate and excited about, and what you're really, really good at and what your superpowers are. The fifth
Right.
one, find your personal mantra. We talked about this throughout the podcast. It's that one sentence. Again, for me, it was finding a cure for cancer. What is your mantra, right? I call it PAM. What is your passion? What is your action that gives you your mantra? PAM.
Mm.
My
Wow,
wife
I
helped me
really
out
like
with
these
that. So,
abbreviations. They're great.
yeah, because for me, I was passionate. Yeah, yeah, I was passionate about biology and chemistry. My action was to help the world, make it a better place, impact the world. And my mantra is finding a cure for cancer, right? It's an equation. P plus A equals M. What is your PAM? Think about it, and then you'll get your sentence that you have. Your sentence will be part of your pitch and your personal statement. Your mantra will get you through the hard times and the good times, and it'll keep you steered in the right direction. So that's my 5-point plan for success. You can use it for free. There's no copyright. It's all yours, and
Perfect.
hopefully you'll learn from that plan.